So to try to define that which is infinite with a brain or a mind that is finite is an impossibility. Lao Tzu knew this and understood this. It's why meditation is such an important part of the process of coming to our highest self, coming to know who we are. It's the place where there are no beginnings. Herman Melville once said that God's one and only voice is silence. The silence is there, one place where there is nothing finite. Blaise Pascal, the famous French philosopher and scientist, once said that all of man's troubles stem from his inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Most of us just aren't comfortable with this because we have come to believe and trust in the evidence for who we are based on that which we can touch, see, feel, and smell, what our five senses tell us. But our five senses lie to us. William Blake pointed that out beautifully in one of his poems back in 1777. He said, "To see the world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, to hold eternity in the palm of your hand and infinity in an hour. We are all led to believe a lie when we see with, not through, the eye, which was born in a night to perish in the night, while the soul slept in beams of light." We are all infinite beings in a temporary human experience. I've said it over and over again. Whenever people ask me what's my very favorite quote, my very favorite observation, it came from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, the French priest who was excommunicated from the Catholic Church for his outrageous ideas. He said that we're not here as human beings having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. We are all infinite spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, coming to a place where we live our lives from that infinite place, and beginning to know our soul is important. It's one of the reasons why I accepted an invitation to come here. I do yoga myself 5 to 6 times a week. I know the significance of it for me in my own body, my own health, my own life, and my own emotional state. I know that when I meditate, I'm better. I know that when I do yoga, I'm healed. So I came. Getting to know the soul, the spirit, and not identifying ourselves based on our physical senses is the essence of my newest book, which is a PBS special called Wishes Fulfilled. The whole message behind it is to come up with a specific way to contact this infinite part of ourselves. Remember, if it's infinite, it doesn't stop any place. It doesn't start any place. That's by definition infinite. So if something doesn't start and doesn't stop, what is it doing? It has to be expanding, doesn't it? The minute it stops expanding, it's finite. We're no longer talking about the soul. We're talking about what Blake said. We see with, not through, our eyes. Here's what I jotted down. The ideal of the soul, the thing that it asks for, is neither knowledge, nor light, nor happiness. The ideal of the soul is space, immensity. The one thing it needs more than anything else is to be free, to expand, to reach out, and to embrace the infinite. The ideal of the soul is infinity, because that's what the soul is. It is miserable when it is circumscribed or restricted in any way. Now, I have 8 children, 6 beautiful daughters and 2 sons. One of the things that I know, I used to say that before I had children, I had 8 theories about how to raise children. Now I have 8 children and no theories. But one of the things I know about children is that no one likes being told what to do. This isn't just children, this is all of us. One of my favorite songs is a song from when I was back in high school. Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Boy, you know it. Don't fence me in. Don't restrict me. Don't put boundaries on me. Don't tell me what I can do and what I can't do. Don't tell me how to be. Don't tell me what to wear, what to think. Don't tell me even how to do yoga. Don't tell me. I don't want to be told. This is the soul speaking. Always, the soul is constantly having a desire to expand and grow. Anything or anyone that comes into your life that attempts to do that, you will find yourself fighting it and reaching back. Particularly, you will find this in your yoga practice. Yoga, the word yoga means what? Union. Union with what? Your higher self. Union with God. This is what the highest self is. It's the part of you, the place within you that is not worshiping God. That's what religion has brought to us and taught us, that God is outside of us. It's the part and the place within you that knows that at your highest level, you are God. Each and every one of us. When you are connected to the highest place within yourself, when you are connected to the God that you are, you have all the powers of the creative source of the universe. You become the Tao. The Tao becomes you. So yoga, where union is, really is a way of becoming a manifester. In order to become a manifester, someone who is able to attract and place into their lives what they place their attention on. There are certain things you need to understand. You know, we saw a lot about something called The Secret not too long ago. It was in all the newspapers, magazines, and on the news. I was asked to be a part of that and stayed away from it for different reasons. For me, manifesting is not about attracting what you want. Manifesting is an awareness and an understanding that you attract what you are. I have been studying in depth something called the I Am discourses. I'll share just a little bit about it here. One of my very favorite quotes is from Unveiled Mysteries. It says, "The attitude of one person who wishes to work in conscious cooperation with the ascended host, with God, should not be, 'I wish I could go to them for instruction and pray to God or the source from which we all originated.' T.S. Eliot said, 'We shall not cease from exploration, but at the end of all of our exploring will be to return to the place from which we originated and to know it for the first time.'" Now, the poet was speaking about dying, leaving the body. I think we can come to know that place from which we originated and live from it. The words that Jesus spoke to us in the book of John, "Even the least among you can do all that I have done, and even greater things," are important. It was Jesus who said when he was about to be stoned for blasphemy, "Why would you stone me?" They said, "You blaspheme. You claim to be God. You are a man." He said, "Is it not written in your law that I have said you are gods, all of you?" The infinite place within you needs to expand and wants to grow. The first of these principles came from a Vedantic scholar named Tulipa. It's not exactly bestseller books, but it's the kind of thing that really excites me because I think of going back 1,000 years or 2,000 years and reading what some of the greatest minds had to say and how open they were to the potentiality that each and every one of us has for greatness. This first principle says, as Tulipa put it, "Have a mind open to everything and attached to nothing." One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. Each and every one of us, when we close our minds to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us. Having an open mind doesn't necessarily mean finding fault with all of the things that you've been taught by others. It means opening yourself up to the potentiality and possibility that anything and everything is possible. So having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing really means finding within ourselves the ability to get rid of a trait inside ourselves that I find so common in the contemporary world. That most people that I meet spend their lives looking for occasions to feel offended. They are out there actually hoping they can find some reason to be offended, and there's no shortage of reasons. They're out there everywhere. The way this person dresses, what this person said, they turn on the TV, they're offended by this. Someone used language they didn't like. Someone doesn't share the same customs as you. If you keep track tomorrow, you will probably find 100 reasons that you can go around being offended. A mind that open to everything and attached to nothing says, "I'm never looking for anything to be offended by." Whatever anybody has to say about anything out there, my response to that is, that's an interesting point of view. I've never considered that before. I remember being interviewed for a morning television show, and the woman who was interviewing me said, how does it feel to be talking to people where audiences of people have all these strange beliefs, these weird things they come to? It intrigued me because one of the things that Emerson said is in one of his very first essays. He says, the first thing that we have to say respecting new views here in New England, where we are right now, is that they are not new, but the very oldest of thoughts cast into the mold of these new times. That was in 1842 when he was speaking about that. When this woman asked me the question, she said that, doesn't it offend you that there are people out there talking about using crystals to heal somebody? I remember my response. My response was, if I've got hemorrhoids and someone out there convinces me that crystals are going to heal them, I'm ordering crystal chairs. Placebo. What is a placebo? It's nothing more than a convincing belief. If I hand you this pill and I say, this pill is going to cure your arthritis, and you take it and the pill is just a sugar pill, but your arthritis disappears, I'm into buying those placebos. Where can I get them? It's true of everything. When you think about all the things we enjoy and what our life is like, it took people who had a mind that wasn't closed to make the progress that we've made. Progress is impossible if you always do things the way you always do things. The other word in what Tulipa said is be attached nowhere. Attachment means I am deluding myself into a belief that if I can't have or can't do this or that thing, then somehow I'm going to become immobilized. In a recent book of mine, A Spiritual Solution to Every Problem, I have an observation. It's an observation from Anthony DeMello, a man I respect enormously, a priest who, in The Way to Love, puts it this way. Here's a great test for your relationship, especially those who you are in a relationship with those you love. Not those who are your children, but your spouse and your lovers and so on. So try this test on for size. 1, I am not really attached to you at all. I am merely deluding myself into the belief that without you, I will not be happy. And 2, here's the toughest test for non-attachment. I leave you free to be yourself, to think your thoughts, indulge your tastes, follow your inclinations, behave in ways that you decide are to your liking. How's that for a challenge? So what most of us do in our relationships and why they are not as successful as we would like them to be is that we become attached. And we tell ourselves that if this person behaves in a way that I find offensive, then I can't be happy. I make my happiness, my fulfillment dependent on those people that I love being what I think they should be. Detachment doesn't mean being a victim. It simply means I know I can make my life fulfilled and happy by having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. The third principle is one of my very favorites. It's called there are no justified resentments. This is a very difficult principle for many people to get, but one I believe very strongly in. I was in a group one time of drug addicts and alcoholics, and I was one of the people a sponsor and leading this group, and the sign on the wall said, there are no justified resentments in this group. What I said to that group that night was, no matter what anybody says to you here, no matter what kind of anger comes directed toward you, no matter how much hate you may encounter showing up in your life, there are no justified resentments. Meaning that if you carry around resentment inside of you about anything or anyone, and I'm talking about the person you lent money to and hasn't paid you back. I'm talking about the person in your life that you feel was abusive in your life. I'm talking about the person who walked out on you and left you for somebody else. I'm talking about all of these things that you have justified in your heart and in your life that you have the right to be resentful about. I'm suggesting to you that those resentments will end up harming you and creating in you a sense of despair. I've often said that no one ever dies from a snake bite. The snake bite will never kill you. You cannot be unbitten once you are bitten. It's the venom that continues to pour through your system after the bite that will end up destroying you. Now you have to take a look at all the resentment you may have in your life. And I would like to suggest to you that I think there is a wonderful metaphor for this that I have created in my life for how to make this work.